Do you want to hear about my recent parts work therapy session working on some symptoms of my CSA trauma? In a previous parts work session, I had kind of realized that I have two prevalent parts that kind of come out related to my CSA trauma. One is concealing my body or hiding my body, hiding my femininity, that kind of stuff, trying to like make myself less attractive essentially. And the second part is kind of like a prude or kind of like a fundy sort of really like purity culture based bullshit of like taking too much responsibility for the behavior of men, feeling overly responsible for how I'm treated, not feeling like a fully autonomous person who really has agency, kind of a fawning part. And just as a quick reminder, in case somebody sees this who doesn't like know my content or whatever, none of that is my like chosen beliefs at all. These are things that I kind of internalized from my trauma. So I actually am really disgusted by and very averse to these beliefs, but like my nervous system believes them. So don't judge me. So today's therapy session, I came in talking about my difficulty with not wearing a bra, meaning I feel like I have to wear a bra all the time, including to sleep. And I don't mean like a bralette, I mean like a full-on bra. I have done this since I like first started wearing bras, and it didn't really even occur to me that a lot of women would think it's kind of bonkers to like sleep in like a wired bra. But for me, there is so much like emotional discomfort in not wearing one that it like so outweighs the physical discomfort of wearing one that like I never really thought that much about it. Like I've always just slept in a bra, I've always just worn a bra all the time. But a couple of months ago when I realized like, oh, that's weird and that's definitely like a way that I have accommodated my trauma, I started realizing like that's something I would like to change. Like I would like to not be constantly uncomfortable physically just for this like to gain emotional comfort when like I should be able to be emotionally comfortable not wearing a bra to bed. But so my instinct after like realizing that was like, oh, I should just try to like not sleep in a bra sometimes. And so that's what I had been doing for several weeks. And it got to where I realized like I was sleeping really poorly. I have this experience sometimes where I know my mental health isn't great or that I'm having high levels of anxiety because I will wake up like physically sore. Like it feels like I just stay in like one position all night. I sleep with like the dinosaur arms, and so sometimes like my wrists wake up sore, sometimes like my neck or my shoulders, but it's just like this sense that like I wake up and like first of all I just have like this like immediate like jolt of anxiety. Like as soon as I open my eyes I just feel like anxiety is like surging through me. And like that it has been all night. But also like the physical tension of like it feels like I've barely moved all night or like I've been holding tension in my body while sleeping. And I had noticed that I've always kind of had that occasionally, but I noticed that it was happening way more often and that it was correlating with when I was trying to not sleep in a bra. And so it got to where I was like feeling like I could only sleep braless when I was okay with like not getting as good of sleep, but I was still doing that because I just thought like, well, I have to like get myself used to this. But somehow it like came up in conversation with my husband, and he pointed out that like that sounds like you're like really white knuckling that, and like I don't think that that's really like the ideal solution. Like maybe that's like a therapy idea to like see if you can find like baby steps to take towards it or something else to like not just ruin your sleep in an attempt to like force your way into being comfortable with this. So that's what I did with my therapy session today. And I was kind of really nervous because I thought like, what if I go in and they're like, well, you can either like sleep in a bra or not sleep in a bra. Like these are kind of the two choices. And because like that's kind of how I was seeing it. Like I didn't really see what else they could offer me, but they had lots to offer me, thankfully. So we ended up doing parts work around it. The part that is involved with this is my like body concealing part. And through trying to kind of like connect with that part and like ask questions of that part and whatever, I was able to kind of learn a lot about that part and kind of what's going on in a way that felt really helpful. So what we ended up uncovering is a few things. So this concealing part and kind of like the fawning part that I have are both SA related, and they really don't like each other. So my concealing part largely exists because it knows that I have this big fawning part that like can't or won't say no when I need to say no. And so it thinks if I conceal my body, then I won't have to tell people no, because there will just be less interest in me. So it's like a second layer of protection because of the fawning part. But also we were able to uncover that this part of me doesn't understand that me, like my whole identity, isn't the fawning part. Like the concealing part thinks that I am a fawn part rather than the fawn part being part of me. So we were able to kind of get it to see that I have a core self that is not my fawning part. And so that kind of helped increase trust a little bit. Also kind of went over some stuff that like my core self trusts my husband and like understands that I have way more like power and autonomy and just like respect and like a healthier relationship with my husband, versus what the concealing part knew. Like the concealing part kind of doesn't trust him from a place of basically stereotyping all men as being like my abusers. And so it's kind of catching that discrepancy and like getting kind of communication going there was really helpful. I also was able to figure out like what kind of its core fear is, like with not wearing a bra specifically. And it's basically like if I don't wear a bra, then that might make me be seen, obviously. And if my body is seen in a way that's not usually seen, that might increase like interest from my husband. And this part thinks I wouldn't be able to say no because it thinks I am a fawn. Like all I do is fawn, which isn't true. But also like I know my husband well enough to know that like if I were to try to fawn in a situation like that, and like I actually was triggered and like not interested in sex and he was, that he would pick up on that and would not like, we wouldn't go there, because like he knows me well enough to know when I'm like not actually feeling it and when I'm uncomfortable. Like not that that should be his responsibility whatsoever. Obviously that's my job to like set my own boundaries and advocate for myself, but I do know that if I were to fall into a place of fawning and actually wasn't interested, that he knows me well enough that he would pick up on that, and he is like an ethical enough person that he wouldn't do that. So really there's like multiple layers of safety that I have in reality that this like concealer part wasn't aware of or connected to. And I think that makes sense because this is like a probably like 9 to 14-ish year old part, because that's like when like this is definitely related to my non-contact CSA, and that's like the age range where that stuff was happening. And at that time like I really had internalized that basically all men are like this and this is just normal, and I really have to protect myself through hiding my body and kind of trying to not exist. It's so interesting how I can like go in thinking like there's two options here. There's either sleep in a bra or not sleep in a bra. And then parts work can bring out like all of these like nuances that like I wasn't fully seeing. And so I think now even if I do come up against that anxiety again, like I'll know what parts are activated, what fears are activated, what beliefs are activated, what knowledge this part doesn't know. And so I'll kind of know how to parent that part of my inner child.